Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing a video on the dark night of the soul and what truly the Hermit energy of the tarot deck really consists of. After my video the other day on healing, I had a lot of questions about getting through the dark night of the soul and all that, so I decided to put out a quick little video just kind of going over some things that I went through, some things that might help, and what exactly it is. So really, the dark night of the soul is a period of spiritual, dissolution. It's in a sense where all consultation is gone. It's just removed. It's a process in which you are so filled with love and light, and often that's from another person, an experience. And as soon as you are completely filled, the bottom drops out. It crashes, it leaves. You hit rock bottom. And it is then where you must step in and prove to your mind, body, and soul that the love and light does exist in you. It's like life now exists in a groundlessness, where all your systems, your ideas that seemed reliable and solid seem to dissolve underneath your feet. And it's just at a more and more increasing rate. People that asked us to trust them and to be trustworthy soon betray or abandon us. Strategies that worked in the past no longer seem to be effective in any way. It's like groundlessness is such a frightening place, but as your old culture, your old beliefs, your old ideas seem to dissolve and turn to mush, we no longer really feel the need to find the ground. We then turn our focus to locating ourselves in the present, to do our work from here on out. So a lot of times depression is confused with the dark night of the soul because it does have a lot of the same side effects, I guess you could say, as depression, but it is much different. It's like nothing makes sense in your life anymore. Everything that you thought you knew is no longer the case. There's no purpose to anything. The dark night of the soul, it's both a spiritual and an existential crisis. It's the point where our lives turn. It changes. We encounter the absurd or formidable opponent. We then are now facing everything we feared, every hurt we've ever had, everything right in our face. And it comes into your life uninvited. It happens out of nowhere, challenging the very meaning of our existence and how we place meaning on our life. And it really shakes you. It's like you're stuck between two worlds, but yet you feel like you don't fit in either one. You feel frozen in time. You want to go back, but you've seen too much. Yet you can't see a way forward. It's just a very soul-shaking, heartbreaking experience. It almost causes a paralysis in your life. You feel like all of a sudden nothing has meaning. It is truly life-shaking and touches the foundations of every experience you've ever had and will have from here on out in the soul itself. Oftentimes, the dark night of the soul is sought out by mystics as an important stage of the spiritual awakening. But we're now seeing that people are spun into this without even warning, without even knowing what it is. And that's why it's so confusing that often people confuse it with depression. So, and it's unavoidable. You can't go back. Once you are spun into that spiritual awakening, there's no way to go back to the way you were. You have to get through it. The more you fight it, the more you try to ignore it, the more you try to, not accept what is happening, the more chaotic your life will be. The more just, it's already crazy to go through the dark night of the soul, but to fight it, it's not advised. I couldn't imagine fighting it. At first, in my experience, I didn't know what it was. I just knew that this experience within a relationship spun me to a place where I all of a sudden was feeling physical pain. I didn't want to get out of bed. I was throwing up. My heart literally felt like it was breaking. And it's really a state of despair. It's feeling lost, alone, powerless, helpless, without any purpose or direction in life. You all of a sudden, if you knew where you were going, now all of a sudden you feel totally lost. Your sense of reality and the view of the world is just shattered. And you look in different places for explanations. You look in different places for help. And soon you're finding yourself turning within because you can't find the answers externally. Pretty soon you're looking into tarot readings or looking up what a twin flame means, even though you've never heard of it before. Eckhart Tolle describes the dark night of soul in a beautiful way. And it's something, this isn't a direct quote, so it's something about, I should have looked it up. It's like the collapse of the total meaning of life, of the beliefs that you understood to be, and what it's all about. Like, pretty soon you are questioning everything. You doubt everything in your life, every experience you've had, every thing that you've known to be true. You are now wondering if you have been doing it wrong this whole time. You ask the big questions like, what is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of being a human? What is the reason why I'm here? What is the purpose? Is this just one big game? You feel like everything that defined you is gone. And now you are in this all alone because you are the only one that's experiencing these twists. You're the only one that's experiencing these pains because every single person's dark night of the soul is different, because every single person's soul has come here on a different level, with different experiences, with different goals. And that's why it's so life-shaking, because you feel so totally alone. It's like your very essence of life, life's breath, life's force, the spirit, it's all an essential part of us. And you're wondering why you didn't realize this before. You start purging out people that don't have the same views of you, that tend to live on their shadow side more than their light side. And it's just a whole new outlook on life, and one that you didn't even want. It's like the power of the pain of a dark night of the soul can be so excruciatingly painful. It literally feels like it could pull you to the ground. Like you are too weak to stand, and you don't want to get up. You feel like you're dying, and that would be okay because it's better than what you're going through. There are some key differences that I've come across like I said, with my background, I am a mental health therapist and a behavioral health analysis. So I have picked up some key differences with depression and the dark night of the soul. So I did write those down because there are some differences. With the dark night of the soul, you have a constant feeling of being lost or condemned to a life of suffering, emptiness, heartache that will never go away. You possess a painful feeling of powerlessness and hopelessness, like you're out of control in your own life. You possess a painful feeling, your will and self-control is weakened, making it difficult for you to act and do everyday tasks. Going to work, getting up and brushing your teeth seems like an excruciating task because you have to get out of bed. You have a lack of interest and find no joy in things that once excited you and interested you. You feel such a deep sense of sadness, like on the verge of despair. And this sadness is often triggered by an event, by the state of your life. You all of a sudden feel an acute sense of unworthiness. And the ultimate difference between depression and the dark night of the soul is that depression is usually self-centric, whereas the dark night of the soul is philosophical. Like your depression is based on an event that happened to you. So you lost a loved one in a tragic car accident. You were a soldier at war. It's things that, like, internally you have to process for specific events that happen to you. The dark night of the soul often is an event that triggers it, often a relationship, being with a narcissistic person, dealing with a narcissistic parent, to where it's philosophical in a way that it makes you question your whole belief system. It makes you question your existence, not so much as why did this happen to me, but now you're questioning, why am I here? And that's the major difference. It makes you question, the nature of things. It's accompanied by your internal reflections, like I was saying, as in, why am I here? What is my purpose? To where that depression is more internalized with a specific thing that happened, or like a loss of a job, or something along those lines, to where your dark night of the soul, you're now questioning the very existence of human nature and your purpose here. So when depression ends, not much has changed in your life in terms of your beliefs, your values, your habits, etc. But with the dark night of the soul, when that ends, everything in your life is transformed within and without, internal and external. So that's really the key differences that I've seen along the way. There are other minor differences, but those are the ones that really stuck out to me. Sometimes the dark night of the soul is triggered by something that happens to you that you can't explain away. You have no reason for, like, why did they leave? There was no incident that led up to that, them leaving or them, cutting off communication with you, or some disaster which seemed to totally take away your validation of the meaning of your life. And really what has collapsed is the whole conceptual framework of your belief system. It is really purging out and killing off everything in your psyche that is not in line with who you're meant to be. And it's painful. the result is a really dark place. But people have gone into that. And then there is the opportunity to emerge and come out in a transformed state of consciousness, which for those of you who have been through it and are now on that other side, it's life-changing. And it's like, for you ladies out there who have had a child, it's like that labor process is excruciating. But once you're through it and you have this beautiful infant in front of you, all that pain seemed to disappear. It's like you forgot what the pain felt like. And obviously, you know, for people who've had more than one child, it must not be so bad that you can't get through it. So it's a lot like that. When you're in it, the light of day seems like it's never coming, because that soul injury that you're experiencing, it's erasing that clear boundary between what you feel sanity and insanity. You feel like you're losing it. You feel despair and destruction, and you start to question why is this happening? Why am I going through this? And that's when you start to go through the different phases of the dark night of the soul. The first one is that pain, that soul shaking pain. It's often physical. It's if not physical, it is most definitely mental, and it is paralyzing for a time. My advice for that would be to give yourself some time. If you can't go to work, don't go to work for a couple days. If you're sick, physically sick, stay in bed and allow yourself to feel that pain. Because honestly, that's what the inner work is. When people say you got to do the inner work is acknowledging that pain, allowing it to be felt, and then releasing it. Like, once you acknowledge that pain, you have a time limit to acknowledge it, to feel it, to release it. And if you keep doing that as it happens, you will get through it a little bit easier. Then you're going to start purging of your belief systems. All of a sudden you're going to question, different religions, different beliefs, different philosophies. And then you get to kind of pick out what you feel you are most in line with. Excuse me. And then you seem to go into the Hermit card in the tarot deck. And that's when you often different people go through different phases. And everybody's dark night of the soul lasts different amounts of time. It depends on how quickly you do that inner work, how quickly you work through the pain, and how quickly you identify with your new belief systems, with your new practices, I guess you could say, spiritual practices. So a lot of times when you're going through this spiritual awakening, you'll find you are unemployed. You quit your job. It no longer suits you. It no longer fits what you want to do. And you completely change things up and quit, becoming unemployed. A lot of times you will break old circles of friends. You will have wild psychic openings through dreams, through meditation, through just all of a sudden your psychic connection is intensifying. Some of you will find it hard to stay committed to something. You have a lot of ideas, but you find it hard to follow through. You have a lot of things that you love to do, but you find it hard to stay committed to that. And it's because you're in a constant reevaluation. Did you guys just see that orb? I wonder if that picked that up. That was right in front of my face. Anyways, a lot of you will, because you're constantly reevaluating your life, your decisions, your choices, where do I go from here? Why did I do that before? So it makes it really hard to stay committed to a certain idea or like staying on your path. Your sensitivity is increasing. You're highly sensitive to emotions, to thoughts, to situations. You often withdraw from everybody. You go within in this deep soul-searching time, and you want everybody to stay out. Be cautious of becoming too withdrawn in this time, however. A lot of people will turn to vices, to addictions, to drugs, to, to try to numb this pain. Although everybody's choice in life is that of their own, that only prolongs it will help in the time being, but it only prolongs the process. So be cautious of that. You're starting to question society's view of normal, of what should be done, relationships, and because you're experiencing inner conflict with that, no longer agreeing with how society sees we should live our life. You begin purging out friends, family, relationships, jobs, ideas, thought processes, everything. You are going to experience a paradigm shift, a new way of looking at things, a new way of looking at your future and what you provide to the world as to the collective. It's really the upheaval of everything because you don't fit in anywhere anymore. And that's when it's important to reach out to a tribe, a group that have already awakened. They're going to help you through this process. A lot of people will hide away trying to resist the change, trying to resist the process, and like I said before, only making it more chaotic, more painful, and more prolonged. You start to question everything because you know there's more to life than this. Explore those. You will find your answers in meditation. Meditation is key because the divine will help you through this process and take away that pain and help you heal those hurts through meditation. You can find many guided meditations on YouTube, or Google it. You'll find millions out there. Find one that fits for you, because yoga, meditation are going to be your two best friends getting through a dark night of the soul, because it's opening your direct line of communication to source, and they will help you bring in the light that left your soul, because often you get filled with love and light. Filled. Once you're full, the bottom drops out. Bam, dark night of the soul. So opening up that direct line will help light come in and pain be released. You need to find your inner harmony, balance, and inner peace, and yet you have never felt more conflicted in your life. Once again, meditation and something along those lines are key. Meditation is a lifesaver. Even though I did not follow that advice from my mentor, I wish I would have, because once I found meditation, I was like, oh my gosh, where has this been all my life? And it's a lifesaver. There's a need for change, but you fear the unknown. Put your faith and trust in yourself. Know that what you're going through is normal, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So move forward towards the unknown. That's where you're going to find your answers. The state of bliss is just on the other side of fear. So once you step through that fear, you will find your bliss. Cleansing off the negative shadow, or the dark shadows and negative energy of your own psyche, of your own soul. Balancing out your own inner light and your own inner demons is key. A lot of people feel like they're stuck between those two worlds, but don't belong in either one. That's when facing that fear is so key. So have the faith in yourself that you can get through anything. It is so important, because during the dark night of the soul, a lot of you will experience material loss, physical loss, your relationships with your parents, your childhood hurts, everything is going to come to the surface. Your scars are going to be reopened so you can deal with the pain because they weren't healed in the right way in the beginning. And it's going to feel like you are under attack and you're the only one on your side of this war. But know that if you acknowledge those feelings, you meditate, and you work through that pain without trying to numb it, without trying to ignore it, and without trying to escape it, the divine will help you through this. And right on the other side of this fear and hurt and sorrow is that bliss. The state of bliss is right on the other side of the unknown, the fear, the hurt, the betrayal, the pain. So don't avoid it. Walk through it. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Release it. And then you will find your bliss. I promise. All right, guys, I hope this video helped. I send you all my light and love. God bless.